Hello, I'm Simon Adebisi and welcome to highlights of the 2012 Formula SimRacing World Championship. Round 4 is the crown jewel of Formula 1, the Monaco Grand Prix. Taking place around the tight and bumpy streets of Monte Carlo, this is the one race that every driver wants to win. With essentially no runoff area at all at this circuit, this is definitely the most unforgiving Grand Prix on the calendar, and as the drivers are required to negotiate 78 laps of the track, it is always guaranteed to carry a very high rate of attrition. Qualifying saw Bono Huis break Moran's streak by taking a crucial pole position, beating out Rasmus Tali, who achieved his best ever qualifying result to make the front row. Morgan Moran would have to settle for third place alongside his sister teammate Stoffel van Dorn. Yannick Lapjan set the 5th fastest time, making it a good result for the ATR team. Jim Paresis continued his impressive form to qualify in 6th, and Patrick de Wit would start the race in a solid 7th place. Renault Room qualified in 8th for the 3rd time this season. Frederick Nilsson made it inside the top 10 for 9th, and Precision Motorsports reserve driver Jack Keithley would start in 10th position. Bulgarian driver Dejan Kostadinov just missed out on Q2 ahead of Gogo Baldi in 12th. Marcel van der Linden set a decent time to qualify in 13th, and Georgis Matazakis set his best qualifying result for 14th. A disappointing session for Jon-Erik Saxon dropped the fit into 15th ahead of Philip Puška in 16th position. Unfortunately, Yannick Lapjan stalled his car on the formation lap, forcing the Frenchman to start from pit lane. To the race start, Moran had a clean launch, allowing him to get alongside Tali and take over second place. Van Dorn braked too late and lost his front wing, and Keithley made heavy contact with Room but suffered surprisingly little damage. Chatsi Bantelis also lost his front wing after hitting the back of his teammate, but otherwise the entire field made it through the opening corners without major incident. With Van Dorn struggling without his front wing, Paresis was held up badly into the hairpin, dropping behind Keithley, and meanwhile Varga made an incredible inside pass to take Jon-Erik Saxon. At the end of the opening lap, Bono Huis held the lead with Morgan Moran hot on his tail. Rasmus Tali was in 3rd, and Patrick de Wit had made his token great start to get up into 4th. Both Frederick Nilsson and Jack Keithley had also made terrific starts, gaining 4 places to get up into 5th and 6th respectively. Not surprisingly though, it didn't take long for the Monte Carlo barriers to begin claiming their victims. Philip Puška was the first driver to go, spinning through the last corner and stalling his engine. And further behind, teammate Chatsi Bantelis also span his car at Portier, also stalling his engine. Stoffel van Dorn was likewise making a strong recovery, but the Belgian driver clipped the Armco into the Novelle chicane, ending his race. It quickly became apparent that overtaking was next to impossible. Morgan Moran was being held up badly by Bono Huis, but as has come to be expected, the Dutch champion was making no errors whatsoever, giving his French rival absolutely no opportunity to attempt a pass. However, in the battle for 8th, Renault Rome made a small mistake into the final corner, losing his position to his sister teammate Dejan Kostadinov. Ironically, a few laps later, Kostadinov himself also made a mistake into Anthony Nogues, clipping the inside, leaving Room nowhere to go. Kostadinov kept his car from stalling, but the Bulgarian had a painful wait for a clear track to correct his car, dropping him down into 15th place. On lap 15, the first round of stops began. In 7th and 10th position respectively, Jim Paresis and Peter Varga both made early pit stops. However, Varga's strategy looked to have immediately backfired when the Hungarian emerged just behind Giuseppe Marconi. But the NetRex driver quickly managed to find his way around the faster-than-speed driver with a very skillful pass through the harbour chicane. Unfortunately, Paresis had no such luck, and his race ended not long after, with the Greek having a horrendous accident into the swimming pool section, clipping the inside wall, completely destroying his go-speed car. In the battle for the race lead, Huis had his mirrors full of the red and white ATR, and after continuous sustained pressure, it was the Precision Motorsports crew who showed their hand first, bringing Huis into pit lane on lap 18. Knowing that a quick in-lap would be his only hope of taking first position, Morgan Moran pushed as hard as he could, but sadly it all came undone through the Novelle chicane exit when the Frenchman just caught the Armco with his left rear, spinning the car around, losing his front wing. Moran crawled back to the pits, but as the ATR crew began repairs, teammate Yannick Lapchan entered pit lane, and while Moran lost nearly a whole minute under repairs, Lapchan could do little but wait helplessly for his turn. After the first round of stops, Weiss now had a comfortable 5-second lead over Rasmus Tali in second. Patrick de Wit continued on in third place, just ahead of Twister's Fredrik Nilsson in fourth. Jack Keithley was in a lonely fifth, and Reino Rome was up into an impressive sixth place. However, further back, the stop saw several key position changes. Marcel van der Linden lost 7th place to Gogo Baldi after the Dutchman nearly stalled in pit lane, and Peter Varga's early pit stop had worked out well, putting the Hungarian up into 9th. Jan Kostatinov leaped ahead of John-Eric Saxon for 10th, and Yorgos Manazakis lost out badly, dropping 3 places for what was now 12th position. In the second stint, the driver count continued to fall. Blair Disley had a spectacular crash into the swimming pool section. Twister reserve driver Rudy Van Buren suffered an electrical fault whilst in 13th place, and Jonathan Dion's RC France car sadly gave out halfway through the Grand Prix, with smoke stuttering out the back of his engine. In the fight for 9th, Kostatinov began what was to be an impressive recovery. Seeking a way around Peter Varga, the GT Amiga driver used the draft down the start-finish straight and pulled off an aggressive overtake, dropping Varga into the clutches of Saxon and Manazakis. Not long after, and just ahead, Marcel van der Linden had a scary sideways moment just after the hairpin, handing his 8th place to Kostatinov. Meanwhile, Reino Rome had managed to catch up to 5th place Jack Keithley, but a few laps later it was the Estonian who made the mistake, losing control through Casino, crunching his front wing into the Armco. This had a knock-on effect as Gogo Baldi was caught out by the slow-moving RS Evo car on its return to the pits, and he locked up, losing his position to Kostatinov. Kostatinov was now up into an incredible 6th place despite his earlier spin on lap 12, and the Bulgarian wasn't finished with his charge. Several laps later, the GT Amiga driver had caught up to Jack Keithley. Keithley did his best to defend, but Kostatinov eventually found a way through with a bold overtake into the harbour chicane. But on the very next lap, it all came undone. Kostatinov lost traction out of the swimming pool section, crunching his front suspension into the barriers and ending any chance of a points finish. As the race went on, the attrition rate only increased, with 5 drivers coming unstuck in just as many laps. Manazakis dropped his go-speed car through turn 1, and after a very strong run, Marcel van der Linden lost control through Anthony Nogues. Meanwhile, an unfortunate chain of events ended the race for 3 different drivers, starting with Fredrik Nilsson in 3rd, who lost control out of the swimming pool section, spinning his car and stalling his engine. Distracted by the accident, Giuseppe Marconi then lost control going into La Rascasse, followed by Fabrizio Gobi, who was caught completely by surprise by Marconi's stricken car. Patrick de Wit was very lucky not to join the long list of DNFs, crashing his car just before the pit lane. However, the Dutch veteran had done enough to create a large gap back to Keithley in 4th, and the Matcore driver didn't lose any positions. Likewise, Rasmus Tali's solid drive almost came to an end when the Estonian lost control into the final turn, forcing the GT Amiga driver to do an entire lap without his front wing before pitting for repairs. But with de Wit's earlier incident, Tali was also able to carry on without losing his 2nd place. Making an amazing recovery, Morgan Moran had pushed on and had eventually found his way back inside the top 10 after a difficult race. But it all ended when the ATR driver's brakes failed and the Frenchman was sent sliding hopelessly into the tyre barriers at Mirabeau. Further behind, John-Eric Saxon's brakes also called it quits, ending the Finns' race with only a few laps left to go. Being the only driver to complete a mistake-free race, Bono Huys took his 3rd Monte Carlo crown, winning the Monaco Grand Prix for the 3rd year in a row. Rasmus Tali finished in 2nd, more than 50 seconds behind. There was no doubt that the Estonian fully deserved to step up on the podium for the first time since 2010. And crossing the line in 3rd, an ecstatic Patrick de Wit claimed his 2nd Monte Carlo podium in as many years. Jack Keithley finished in 4th, doing an incredible job to pick up his personal best result in a WC race. Gogo Baldi finished in 5th, somewhat disappointed not to be on the podium, but nonetheless picking up valuable points. And fellow countryman and teammate Peter Varga also achieved his best result so far in an impressive 6th place. Marcel van der Linden finished 2 laps down in 7th, and although Moran and Saxon failed to reach the finish line, they were still classified, having finished over 90% of the race distance. With only 7 out of 23 starters reaching the checkered flag, the 2012 Monaco Grand Prix produced an astoundingly high rate of attrition. Weiss has now extended his championship lead to 28 points over Morgan Morad, who remains comfortably in second place. Rasmus Tali's podium has put the Estonian into third with a healthy 36 points. Gogo Baldi has also jumped way up the order into fourth position as Fredrik Nilsson drops into fifth. Patrick de Wit is now inside the top 10 for the first time this season in sixth, with neither Lapchan nor Van Dorn scoring today. Both McConan and Greco were absent, and Jack Heathley's great result puts the Englishman into 10th, tied with John-Eric Saxon. Precision Motorsports have further extended their lead, being the biggest point scorers for the third race in a row. ATR scored their lowest total so far, but still remain easily in second place. Another strong result for GT Amiga Racing puts the British outfit ahead of Twister Racing for third, and big points hauls for both Matcore and Netrex have dropped AT Racing down into seventh, with the ATR sister team failing to score since round one. Faster Than Speed picked up 2 points, and RS Evo achieved their best result so far with 6 points to put them up into 10th position. The next race will be the Canadian Grand Prix, and you can watch that race live as it happens at SimRace TV on the 3rd of June at 4 PM GMT. And don't forget to join in on the Formula Sim Racing Fantasy League by following the link on screen, and you can also check out FSR on Facebook and on Twitter. We hope you've enjoyed this presentation. I'm Simon Adebisi, and we'll see you next time for round 5 of the 2012 Formula Sim Racing World Championship.